Hello, good day to all of you. My name is Blair and welcome to another OS operating system. Today, we're gonna learn how to install an OS based in Linux operating system kernel. This one will be using the boxes, which is a Linux app to use a virtualization machine or virtual boxes that we have. So let's go to our boxes right here. And of course, I have several OS already that is being tested. And let's click this one and try to install. So let me go to my OS. I only have this one right now. So let's try to open this one and put your name. For example, I'm using Blade. So to make sure that I have the OS which is based in Linux, we will just gonna put Blade OS Linux. And of course, instead of like giving it only 2, if you have 16 gigabytes of random access memory, you could put about like 8 gigabytes of random access memory for your virtual boxes. And at the same time, your storage resources, if you have about like 1 terabyte or 500 gigabytes, you could put like 50 gigabytes for your storage for your virtualization and click create. So you have this as the boot menu. So you will just click the AMD 64, which means it is for AMD and Intel 64 architectural design. That is your computer or your laptop or your desktop, and click enter. Then wait for about like several minutes. It will take time to virtualize everything. So this is depends on your system. If you have a slow system or a fast system, so it depends. So as you can see, we have the welcome app. Let's click next, and then let's select your keyboard layout, which one you prefer and which one is your computer keyboard layout. So I prefer the US English. So let's click that one, next. And your privacy, if you want to be located for your service application to determine where your geographic location for the uses of the location service of your Mozilla. For me, I prefer the privacy thing because I don't want like everyone is bugging me about like advertising and so on. So let's turn off. But if you are like not so techy, and especially if you don't mind if you were asked where is your location is, you just turn it on. Then click next. Of course, if you have some accounts from Microsoft, yes, we have Microsoft in Linux because, well, as you can see, Windows 11 is a hybrid of Linux kernel already. So probably in the next few years, Microsoft will be shifting their kernel into Linux than their hybrid kernel. So it's up to you if you want to turn on the Google, Nextcloud, or your Microsoft. So for me, I'll just skip for now. And let's start browsing the Blade OS 24.1. The display ratio of my VirtualBox is not yet aligned, and of course, let's go to these 3x3 dots and go to the settings right here, and then go to the display, and then you have your resolution. Select your preferred resolution. For me, I prefer the 1080, but of course there is another way. Okay, let's close this one, and then just right click your mouse on the desktop and then click the display settings. That is so easy, right? And then click your preferred resolution. For me, as I said, I prefer the 1080 resolution, and then click apply. And then click keep if you have the correct display ratio. Okay, now we have our full screen. Hooray! And then you could click this one, the X, as well. Every WinDWing system is now based on like this one, so just click X, and then there you have it. I'm still inside my virtual box, but if you are confused with these two types of the dock of your main operating system plus your virtual box, just click right here on the full screen button, and then voila, it also identify that you are in the 1080 resolution. So it is now clean. As you can see, it is still virtual box, but it is inside my main operating system. So that is how we install in our virtual box for our virtualization of the Gnome virtual boxes application. That's about it, how to install. So right now this is the live, which is not yet installed in your virtual box. When we click the show apps right here, the 3x3 dots, you have this one, the installation of your Blade OS. So it is not yet fully installed on your computer. That installation process is just a virtualization when you start, so that it will be like completely okay when you open this one. So let's try to install this one by clicking the Blade installation process app. So now let's wait. Okay, there you have it. You have to select the language. This is the installer, which is the Calamares installer app for Blade OS. So what preferred language you prefer to use is up to you. For me, it is American English. And let's click next if you already selected it. And then you have the regional location. So it is depends on your location. For me, I'm here in Asia, which is in Thailand. The time zone, it is based in Bangkok. So I'll use that one. And the language, let's click this one. The number and date scale set by language is in Thai. So let's look for the English, US. So let's look for English, EN for English, US, of course, United States language, and it is still in UTF-8, which means it is -8 in the UTF time scale. So let's click OK. Now it is set in English language USA as the time and date, including our language right here in our system. Okay, let's click next. Then you have the keyboard again. This is the installation. This is not the virtual, like the testing mode or the live mode. This is the installation mode already. So you have to click your English and your default keyboard layout, and then click next. Then if you want to have the complete installation without any other OS, you could like click erase all. But if you have another OS, you could like alongside, which is partly another OS alongside in it. So let's click next. And of course, before anything else, I remind you that you could inscript it if you want to, but for me, I don't want to inscript my system. Okay, click next, and then you have the overview of what will happen once you start installation procedure with your location, keyboards, and of course your partition. Remember, this is not a disk, only one disk or two disk or three disk. This is one disk which is under the dev slash SDA1, which is your disk. If you have NVMe, it will appear as NVMe. Okay, so right now I have the solid state drive disk A that is represented by SDA. Okay, and then after that it will be completely Blade OS Linux, all in the BTRFS file system. And the bootloader, it is also given right here, which means this is your bootloader too. So the bootloader is also in the dev SDA1. Okay, if you have some SDA2 and you put it your SDA-B on your system, so you could also put your installer and bootloader all at SDA-B if you have, or if you preferred. Okay, then click install. And of course there will be another information right here just to let you know that you will be erasing everything and you're not able to undo these changes. And then just click next, just click install, and then it will just install it for you. Compared to Windows, there is no like this kind of installer yet. So that is why it is so easy to install, and alongside if you have different installation of OS, that is why I prefer using Linux operating system. And of course I have multiple OS all at once. If I like to have like the KDE Neon OS, I just install it alongside with my different operating system. And of course if I have to install another like the Blade OS, I just click alongside the other operating system. And of course if I wanted to install another operating system like the Linux Mint, I will just click alongside with all of the multiple operating system. So let's wait until it reaches 100%. Okay, now we have our all done. It is already installed in our virtual box right now. So it recommends to restart all of this, and then let's click done and it will restart. Of course, it will be exiting your full screen in a while and go back to the application virtual boxes of Gnome or GNU or Gnome, whatever you want to call it. So it will take time to restart everything, as it is the first time to restart your installed operating system, which is Blade OS. Okay, now this is our Blade OS that we restarted. So let's click this one and then it will restart. Don't forget to full screen your system again so that you will not be like confused what operating system or the app that you are in. Okay, right now it is welcome app again. Let's click next. If you want to let them know your location, just click this one, okay. But if you don't, turn it off. It's up to you. Okay, so click next, and of course my location, it is in Thailand, which is the Bangkok UTS +8 UTC +7, and you are asked what kind of online account do you have, so that you could like connect your account easily into your email, calendar, contacts, document, and photos, like the Google, Nextcloud, or Microsoft. Yes, as I said, Microsoft is present in Linux. Of course, this is the first time that you have to enter your complete name or your name of your computer. I just put it like RealB for me for my username, and set up parent control if you have kids. So for me, I'll just click OK and next. And then you will be asked for your password, of course, so that it will be a secure, so that every time you install or there is a virus that wanted to install, you have to click your password if you allow it. Of course, I only have like 4 number or letter or punctuation mark or capitalized letter. And of course, be careful, don't lose your password. Okay, this is your protection, so that you will not be infiltrated by any virus that it will just install it like without any password, without letting you know. Of course, let's click next, and then let's start use the Blade OS. Of course, as I said, it is not yet properly display your settings ratio, so you just right click the display there, your desktop, and then just choose your preferred display settings. I'm using the 1080, and I'll just click apply, and then keep it if it is already correct. So I could like click the X and then start operating it as my VirtualBox's operating system. So I could like change my background settings right here. If you have some pictures, you could add that one too. For me, I'll just be okay with this one. This is just the example, okay? So who says the operating system Linux is boring? You could always like change. And of course, if you have some question, feel free to ask me. Write it in the comments down below. And if you have some questions like how to exit it, if you click the all apps and there is no shutdown or power off, of course, this is Linux. That's why if you're using the Android, it is also Linux, like the Samsung desktop environment. It is just up here. Then you could like click this one. Then you have the option right here. By the way, you have your screenshot right here. And then your settings plus your volume plus your internet. Either it is in wired or Wi-Fi, it's up to you. You have the dark mode. I prefer dark mode. It is much better and it doesn't giving me eye strain. And of course, your parental lock right here. If you have kids, then just click right here for your suspend, or just, close your desktop. Or you have the restart or the log out, and of course your power off or your shutdown. And of course, this is Linux, just like in our Samsung DeX desktop environment. It is on 3 dots right here. Or you could click right here. In Google Chrome, it is replaced, instead of like the word activity, it is a zero or circle right here on the bottom left. So it is still the same, and I think the Google also uses like this, depends on what kind of desktop environment. So either it is in center or in the notification area. But of course, this is Linux. You could like change whatever you want. You have that tutorial in our other type of videos that I have, or even other YouTubers, Rumble content creator, and Odyssey content creator. Then you have to have the notification right here on the right side. Either it is in the bottom or whatever they wanted to put it. Of course, this is the Blade OS, so they have this set up. Then, of course, just click right here and shut down if you wanted to shut down. Turn off, of course, just click. Then it will shut down. See, that is how easy to use Linux operating system. No fuzz in like making it like complicated. Not like Windows that is like so complicated of like different term that they wanted you to like confuse. I think the developer was not yet prepared for the future of their operating system. And in Linux, we have different developers all over the world that could like change into the proper terminology for the operating system and application. So that is why it is much better to use Linux compared to Windows or even Mac. That's my take. It's up to you if you want to confuse yourself. We don't use drive. If we have drive, another drive, and another drive, then you have to use drive. Like the SDA, which is the solid state drive. A for your primary, B for your secondary. That's why we have SDA, SDB, SDC. If you have some NVMe, then you have NVMe. Okay, so that is why we have different terminology that is correct. Not like Windows that they say drive, but it is a partition. No, if we have partition, we use partition. Like this one, I only have one particular partition and it is one only. I could let you show you right here in my partition manager. Don't forget to enter your super secret password. As you can see, I use NVMe 1 for this partition. This is the disk information, so it is unknown. And of course, the operating system for my big Linux is on the partition 2. Then of course, I have this one unknown for the, I think this is for the swap, but I'm using the BTRFS. So the swap, it is not put as a virtual, but as a unknown format. Okay, so let's close this one. That's another app. Okay, so that's about it for now for our OS operating system, how to install in our virtual machine. That's it for now. If you have some question, feel free to ask me. Write it in the comments down below. I'm Blair, your science, computer, and math teacher. Bye for now and see you in the next episode. And remember that science means knowing. That is why science is cool. Ciao! I love the effects.